I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. 4.0, the introduction of guests. We'll start with Mr. Gabriel.
Thank you. Mark Gabriel, Agency Counsel.
Andrea Classic, agency staff.
Mike Dudley, agency staff.
Terry Crusoe, agency staff.
Adrian Lasky, agency staff.
Oh, Grant Woolley, controller Buffalo Field.
Aaron Ted Rosewood, Buffalo Field.
Jim Pink from Business First.
Great, thank you, welcome. Let's see, 5.0, NCIDA meeting minutes from February 12th. Kevin?
Review the minutes of February 12th, thought them to be in order, make a motion to approve.
You have a second? Okay, Jerry. Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, Finance and Audit Committee, I've checked the agency payables and budget variance report. We found those to be in order, and I make a motion that we approve those. And a second. And all in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Carried. Let's see, the audit report. Lumsden and McCormick there gave us a really thorough overview of our audit report. Everything was found to be in order, and we need a motion to approve the audit report.
So moved.
Okay, Mr. Ross. Mr. Cliff. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, Governance Committee, Ms. Wolfgang.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item 62.1 is the annual board evaluation, and Mark's going to give us a comment on that.
Thank you, Mr. Wolfgang. As required, each year the agency sends out board self-evaluations on the form that is set forth and prepared by New York State. Those were sent out to our board members that were board members as of the end of 2019 for responses. Out of those, we received 7 responses. As you remember, we were short a couple of board members last year. Our responses were very good, and because of the type of responses, no further action or requirements are necessary or actions by the board. This evaluation will be posted on our website.
Thank you.
That's over.
Okay, great, appreciate it. The annual meeting, election of chairperson, I guess I need the room at this time.
You can stay here.
I can stay here. Okay. I'll turn the meeting over to Mr. Gabriel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Onesi. As is customary, at this time, the meeting is turned over to council for the election of the chairperson. At this time, I would entertain any motions for a chairperson being made by board members.
I'd like to make a motion for Mr. Onesi.
Do I have a second?
Next chairperson of the Niagara County Industrial Development Agency.
Thank you. Do I second Mr. Cave? We have Mr. Onesi's name put in. Do we have any other nominations? Hearing none, I request and direct the secretary to cast one vote and congratulate Mr. Onesi on his appointment as chairman of the LDA.
Appreciate it, thank you very much. Okay. Election of officers, do they have the list of this, or?
No, you would make your slate, and if there are any other nominations, that can be done afterwards if you have a slate.
Let's see. The slate put together here that I have is for first vice chairperson, Mr. Wolfgang, second vice chairperson, Kevin McCabe, the secretary, Mr. Ross, the assistant secretary, Ms. Candela, and the treasurer, Sue Langdon. So that would be the appointment of.
So you would ask, then we would need a motion to accept that slate.
Mr. Wolfgang and Mr. Cliff.
Are there any other nominations
Any other numbers?
for any of those positions?
Okay.
Hearing none, we direct the secretary to cast one ballot for each of those names and to take their appointed offices.
Audit and Finance Committee, Chairperson, Mr. McCabe, and members, Mr. Ross and Scott Bridges. The Audit and Finance Committee, should I just go through all of these? Or?
You do. These are your appointments, correct?
All right. The Governance Committee would be Mr. Wolfgang, with Clifford Scott and Robert Cliff as the members of the Governance Committee. The NCDC Loan Committee and the Micro Grant Committee. Myself as the chairman, Mr. Krempa, Lucas Wolfel from M&T Bank, Scott Kane from Whitland, Kane and Dry, Eric Tudor from Caldwell Bank Meridian, Rebecca Whitish from the Niagara County Legislative, the chairman there, Anthony Nemi, legislator, Thomas Camara, general manager of Boss Manufacturing, and Sue Langdon as the NCIDA Chief Executive Director. That would be the NCDC Loan Committee membership. Okay. The Cataract Grant Fund, the Honorable Robert Ortt, New York Senator, Honorable Angelo Marinello, the New York State Assembly, Mayor Restano from the City of Niagara Falls, myself, Mr. Ross, Paul Brown, President of the NC Building and Trades Council, and Sue Langdon as members of the Cataract Grant Fund. And I believe that's all of the things that we need to.
As a reminder, if I could, to the board on the NCDC Loan Committee grant, if the board recalls, we had a micro enterprise loan committee, we had a revolving loan committee. Now we're looking at potentially another sub-grant committee to the micro enterprise loan committee. What was the prior discussions with the board and staff has recommended and now been implemented is that we combine them into one committee that would encompass all the various grant funds. That would seem to be much more efficient and not cause too many heartaches to pulling people out of their normal jobs during the middle of the month. So that's it, just as a reminder to the board.
Next on the agenda is ratify the board meeting dates, 7.4. They're the second Wednesday of the month, and meetings begin at 9 a.m. And then the Audit Finance Committee meets at 8:45, and the Governance Committee meets as necessary, at least once a year. Do I have a motion to approve the Mr. Wolfgang? Do I have a second? Mr. Krempa? Thank you. We have Government Committee charters, Mr. Gabriel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next group of action items are all dictated by New York State requirements and our actions that we need to take on an annual basis. And obviously, this is our annual reorganization meeting, so we'll be doing those now. In your package, and what you have is under 7.51, we'll start there, is the Finance and Audit Committee Charter. This was developed and recently revised and approved, but we require this to be reapproved on an annual basis. So at this time, we would request a motion and a second and an approval of this.
Okay, Mr. Krempa, made a motion, second. Ms. Mandela? Okay, great, thank you.
7.5.2, the Governance Committee Charter. Basically, it's the same thing that I just mentioned. This is something that has been recently revised. We are requesting this be reaffirmed at this time.
Mr. Krempa? Yes, second.
Second.
Mr. Scott?
We have to vote on.
Yes, we got to vote.
We have to vote on both those.
Vote for approval by motion.
All in favor?
Yep.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. We have to reaffirm the mission statement. Once again, this is one of the requirements that's in your package. I think the last time this was revised was 3 years ago. It's in pretty good shape. It has been reviewed, and we're asking again for motion reaffirming.
So moved. Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Moves to 7.7, reaffirm the uniform tax exempt policy. would require a reaffirmation vote, please.
Mr. Greco? Ms. Gandella? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Carries.
On 7.8, as the existing board members, and I think the new board members are starting to understand, Niagara Incubator and Industrial Incubator Associates is a partnership between us and the NFTA for what is better known as the Pizza Logs building, even though Pizza Logs isn't there anymore. At this time, Susan Langdon has been our appointed person to this NIIA, and they are asking for a motion to reappoint her for the upcoming year.
Second.
Mr. Ross? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
The Niagara Industrial Incubator Company is another partnership between us and the NFTA. That is for the other building that is out there, basically as I call it, the CRA building. We are looking again for the reappointment of Susan Langdon to that.
So moved.
Mr. Ross? Mr. Greco? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And finally, on my items is the Niagara Economic Development Fund. As you recall, we are simply one seat out of 5 on this particular committee. We are looking again for the reappointment of Susan Langdon, our executive director.
Mr. Greco? Okay, Mr. Gandella? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And thank you for your patience.
Congratulations, Steve. You had a lot of work to do. Mr. Dudley, we have risk assessment and risk management.
Yes, the risk assessment and risk management letter and the next 2 items are just standard disclosures that are required by the Office of the State Controller to the PARIS system, Public Authority Information Reporting System. This is just a standard letter that they require and here for your information. You don't have to vote on it or anything, it's just there for your information.
Okay. And the real property assessment, same thing.
Same thing, yep.
Okay.
And the annual investment reports as well.
Any questions on those before we move on? Thank you. 2019 annual report summary?
Not on those.
Not on those.
You will on the next 3. On 7.14 is the 2019 annual report summaries. Those are in your package. It's basically an annual report of each of the 3 entities and what action items and or projects were handled and closed in 2019. We will require a motion and an approval of this annual report.
Okay. We have a motion to approve. Any questions on it, first of all?
I have one question.
Okay.
Is this the one we're partners with the,
No, these are just, this is a state requirement that this annual report will end up being posted on Paris and in our on our website as required. But this is basically a state requirement that makes us disclose and report to the world of what projects we've done, how many jobs that we've created in a brief summary, and that we've approved such an annual report. It's a check a box, for lack of a better term, that poor Carrie has to deal with on an annual basis.
Well, there's 3 reports we need.
One for the NADC. No, you can do them all at once.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions? Do we have a motion to accept them? And okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. I'm just going to jump to 7.16, which is the 2019 annual measurement reports. As you can tell, it's very, very similar to the annual report. The same summaries are involved within these reports, but it measures it against what our goals and hopes are for each year. That is there. Again, this is a New York State requirement that will be posted with Paris, as well as on our website. We require approval of this report.
Okay. Any questions? I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Mr. Wolfgang,
I'll
Mr. McKay. Great, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, on 7.15, it is required and certainly recommended by New York State that all of our administrative policies for 2019 be reaffirmed. A copy of all those policies should have been disclosed or forwarded to you by this time. We have not had any significant changes other than the sexual harassment policy, which was put in place this year. Other than that, we are requesting that the board reaffirm our administrative policies for 2019.
So moved.
Mr. Ross, Ms. Mandela, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Mark, I have one question that I was trying to find out where it went. We have a partnership with the NFTA,
Two of them.
right? And I'm just wondering, progress, since we have new board members who aren't aware of that, or might not have all the information, where does that stand with them acquiring the total property that was put off by them? One, because of the money, two, they're not ready. So is there anything new on that?
No, nothing new whatsoever on either of those properties. One is the NIIA, one is the NIIC. The NIIA is, as I mentioned before, is the Pizza Logs building, the one that's right there on Niagara Falls Boulevard. We are now 50% owner along with the NFTA. Since Pizza Logs is gone, we've gone back in. We've been actively leasing that. It is a valuable bit of income to the agency and to the NFTA going forward. But according to the last conversations we've had with the NFTA, they're basically on hold at this time for anything. We do have, as part of the entire arrangement, a agreement that if and when they would like to, there's a set value that they would pay us for our investment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, 8.1 Neighborhood Redevelopment LLC. Dimitri?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On March 3rd, 2020, a public hearing was held for a neighborhood redevelopment LLC in the city of Lockport. 3 people were in attendance, including Mr. Ross. There were no comments made.
Okay, great. Are there any questions on this project?
Good project, and I'd like to make the motion, Madam.
Okay. Do we have a second? Mr. McKay? Great. We need final resolution. We need a roll call vote on this.
Mr. McCabe,
Yes.
Mr. Wolfgang.
Yes.
Ms. Candela.
Yes.
Mr. Ross,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Cliff.
Yes.
Mr. Bridges,
Yes.
Mr. Krempa,
Yes.
and Chairman O'Neil.
Yes. Okay, thank you. 9.0, 9.1 Buffalo Fuel Corporation. Dimitri?
Thank you. This project takes place in the city of Niagara Falls with a 15-year pilot, sales tax abatement, mortgage recording tax abatement being requested. Buffalo Fuel will be building a 32,000 square foot clear span building, which will be used as a treatment, storage, and disposal facility, as well as a recycling facility. And this building will be leased at SGS Recovery. In the existing building on the property, the offices and the bathrooms, as well as the truck and maintenance shop, will be renovated into a warehouse for fiber storage. The total project cost is $2,240,000, with 23 jobs being retained and 11 being created within 3 years. It should be noted for the board that this property is located in a distressed census tract eligible location. Mr. Grant Woolley is here to further speak on the project and answer any questions.
I'll be here if there are others to speak.
Okay. Sir, would you come to the table and
So, right? So what we've done for the past 5 years is we've developed a product that creates a sustainable solution for cement kilns. Cement kilns are the second largest polluting industry in the world. So now that sustainability has become front and center in the world view, we've created a fuel and a project and a product that will work very, very well. So we've tested it for 5 years. We put $2.5 million of our own money into it, the research and development, and now that we see a clear path to really making a bigger project out of it, we want to make this investment, at Packard Road. The idea is to put the whole facility under cover to professionalize the business a little bit further. Frankly, we invented it. There was no playbook that we could copy. And this investment triggered the investment on High Park, which is a multi-million-dollar investment as well. So, any further questions on it?
We like the 11 new jobs within the 3 years. Where's your egress to that off Eckerd Road? I know where Niagara Metals are, the old ADN building. Where do you come in and out of your place?
Packard Road, there's an exit on Packard.
Yeah.
We split the driveway with Jones, and then, I think we're together, egress.
Okay, that's where I was trying to figure that out. As I went down there, because I know where the Niagara Metals is, the ADN, and the whole thing. All right. And that's the only question I get.
What's the process again?
What is the process?
Yes.
So what we do is we identify specific types of like residuals coming out of the mill, like for Green Tech. We're working with them to take them zero landfill. So we'll take their plastic and paper rejects that get kicked out of the mill, reprocess them, and engineer them with like a rubber type product and make it into a fuel that can be combusted as cement kiln. So what happens is we're significantly less carbon per MMBTU than coal and natural gas, and we're cheaper.
Pretty innovative.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat project. Last year we recycled, as all of our companies combined, around 90,000 tons of waste. So it's pretty significant. What we wanted to do was sort of vertically integrate our trucking company. So, and this is a way to vertically integrate it. But if you look at the whole sustainability aspect, the sales pitch behind it, it's pretty interesting what we do and how much carbon we take out of the year, and what we save, frankly, American companies.
Great.
So 11 full-time,
11 new full-time. We're retaining 20.
what is the average hourly wage for
That would be up to 23.
new hires?
For the laborers, it's anywhere between 18 to 23, depending on their background. In that number, there's 2 salesmen. There'll be 6 digits. You got 2 admin coming in that number as well, probably in the $52,000 range.
Our starting salary is pretty high, and we train them pretty quick because we're operating heavy equipment. You have to have the right type of caliber person around your company. We are some problems. So,
A good decent living wage, though, right?
23.
Yeah,
By the way, you have more overtime.
That's without benefits. You guys.
Correct. Plus the benefits, plus the full stack of benefits.
Correct.
We'd rather pay up than keep the good ones, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So, and luckily it's a bit of a competition out there for labor, or for good people. So you got to pay right.
We found lately that we don't have a problem creating the job. We have more problems actually getting people to come in and staying. So we could probably create even more jobs if we could get the people to come in and do it, especially on the driver's side of Buffalo Fuel.
Yeah. And this creates a product of Buffalo Fuel trucks. Our truck drivers make 80,000+ a year, especially over the road guys are way north of that. Plus the benefits.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion for preliminary resolution. Ms. Candela. Okay, need a roll call vote.
Mr. McKay?
Yes.
Mr. Wolfgang? Ms. Candela?
Yes.
Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Mr. Bridges?
Yes.
Mr. Krempa?
Yes.
And Chairman Ona?
Yes. Okay, if we need to authorize public hearing, we need a motion for the public hearing. Mr. Cliff? Ms. Candela? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Great. Calspan Air Facilities LLC, Mr. Gabriel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Calspan Air Facilities is a project that dates back some time. It is located adjacent to the Niagara Falls International Airport. The company, as required, is requesting that the board consent to the refinancing and a new mortgage for the Calspan Air Facilities LLC, I believe with Liberty Bank. It is customary to approve such consent. They are not, and we reviewed, they have used their mortgage tax exemption benefit in the past. They would not be entitled to an additional benefit now. I will have conversations with their counsel in respect to that. If, however, the monies are such that are going to create new jobs or new investment in the property, they certainly can come and set an application and request for that benefit to this board separately. But as it stands now under the existing application, they would not be entitled to the mortgage tax exemption, additional mortgage tax exemption benefit.
Mark?
Yeah.
Is Lucan's over there, the CEO, are they looking to expansion? Because they're pretty well saturated in the space they have now. Do you see a future expansion of Niagara Calspan there?
We haven't heard anything about it. I'm not sure if Sue has. The only information I received was in the letter that basically stated that they were going to be reinvesting this money into the flight research business. Now, that could be putting it in their shareholders' pocket. It could be, I don't know what that means, and it doesn't tell me if there are any new jobs. So under those circumstances, if there are new jobs and new investment into the building or into the facility, they can certainly provide an application, and our board can consider it. But as of now, they've had their bite at the apple.
The reason I brought up the expansion, now that they knocked down the old Bell Tech building, the old hangar, and they're clearing that out, just a few bricks left, I thought there was a natural expansion area for Calspan Niagara, especially they're going full blast at Calspan over there.
I have not had any contact with anyone. Sue, have you?
No.
Nothing at all. So
Might be for the future.
They expanded in Buffalo. They added some things in Buffalo recently.
well, maybe they will. Hopefully they will.
You know, they're testing apparatus. They made a pretty good expansion.
Super. So I would need a motion just to consent to the mortgage.
I'll move that.
Mr. Crenshaw? Do we need a roll call vote?
We do not.
on that? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Carries. The micro enterprise grant fund, Andrea?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Staff applied to the state to receive funding for a micro enterprise grant fund for the County of Niagara. It was awarded, and it was awarded to the County of Niagara. So we need to enter into an agreement between the NCDC and the county so this would allow staff to administer this program on behalf of the county through the NCDC.
Any questions?
How much was it for, the grant?
$200,000.
Other questions? Need a motion?
Just a motion.
Okay, just a motion. Scott? All in favor? Opposed? World Trade Center, Buffalo, Niagara.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As some of the board knows, in the past, the IDA, we've always had a very aggressive Canadian marketing campaign. A lot of that was those duties were administered by staff. And since we have readjusted positions around here, and when Dimitri came on board, we reevaluated our approach to Canadian marketing, and we think it's much more cost-effective to partner with World Trade Center Buffalo Niagara. Dimitri and I are still going to have some personal interaction with our partnering agencies in Canada, such as the Port Development Canada, Canadian Federation of Independent Businesses, and so forth. But World Trade Center Buffalo Niagara is going to allow us, or a partnership with them is going to allow us to receive leads from their efforts, and we will also be able to be sponsors at their events and have speaking opportunities on events available. Craig Turner here from World Trade Center Buffalo Niagara. If the board has any questions, and the membership with them would be at a $20,000 level. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions?
Is there a central location for this? How this works?
For World Trade Center Buffalo. Craig has an office in Buffalo, and then they have offices throughout Southern Ontario.
Okay, I'm just wondering how that works. I mean, a coordinating center to pull all this together. It's a good idea.
Sure. Sure. There's two pieces to the puzzle here. Thanks for considering this and giving me a second to chat here. There's two pieces of the puzzle here. We're working with Home of New York. If you've got the presentation in front of you. One of the challenges is getting out of meetings with many companies as possible. We're working with local New York and actually hire a person state grant funding that companies get. Not onerous as part of the paperwork on the time you need the money to fund the trade show or the international trade shows or things like that. The problem is the state funded this massive program that's very well funded, but they didn't fund customer service people to run these companies. So basically what we're doing is entering an agreement with the state to be that arm of our program to them get money. Because the reality is we don't spend it here much New York. We don't find a way to spend it downstate. So that's the first piece of the problem we're finding with Andrea and Niagara County of being involved is to bring some of this funding to help support making that a sustainable position for someone. That's the first piece of the puzzle. The second piece of the puzzle is the Canadian outreach. We're doing significant work in Canada. Our territory, a lot of people don't know this as well, we're Burlington, Rochester, and down here in Pennsylvania, territory. So we have all kinds of programs going on in Southern Ontario. And as we were talking about there's a great opportunity for that county to kind of piggyback our work that we're already doing relationships we're already building. So that 20,000, even though it's going to go specifically to that first project, we're going to treat it as sponsorship, but the county into all the Canadian outreach.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Motion to approve. Need a roll call vote on this.
Mr. McCabe?
Yes.
Mr. Wolfgang? Ms. Candela?
Yes.
Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff? Mr. Bridges?
Yes.
Mr. Krempa?
Yes.
And Chairman O'Neil?
Yes. 9.5, Rockland Development. Gabriel?
Yes, thank you very much. Rock One Development is a project, a mix, market rate apartment, commercial project out on River Road in North Tonawanda. They've been through various phases. I think they're going into phase 2 or in the process of phase 2. They've had a number of financing, and at this point they're refinancing basically their project with the Castile Bank, or excuse me, the Tompkins Bank of Castile. We have reviewed the application. I've been in contact with counsel as well as bank counsel regarding this. We have been working on the documents because there is a bit of energy. I have researched the prior development and the prior application, and what they're asking for is not only consent to the mortgage, but we don't actually have to approve additional mortgage tax exemption benefits because they still have available benefits under their original application available to them. So we will confirm that today. But right now, what we're looking at is a consent to the mortgage, and I'm just putting the board on now on notice that they do have mortgage tax exemption benefits available. What will end up happening is that the one is a $16 million refinance, construction, modification and extension agreement, of which 12.5 million approximately is existing debt, which has already been refinanced, another 3.5 million, 3.445 million of new money, and then there will be another mortgage, line of credit mortgage, credit line mortgage for just under $3 million, which the agency will subject our leasehold interest in that property to the lender, Tompkins Bank of Castile, and we will provide them, as requested, their mortgage tax exemption benefit on those new monies. They are within their range still.
Is that money going to be used for expansion for that medical building they have there?
I believe we have a representative
Yeah.
here who may speak to your question on that.
The project looks great. I was looking at it.
Oh, thank you. Two totally different entities, but yes, we anticipate development monies going forward. Let's see, 624 River Road property. Expanding there. We're about 50% leased out right now with the apartment project next door. And we anticipate being fully leased by the fall.
Is that going to be a multi-purpose building, the old medical building there? Or is that going to retail? I was just kind of curious about that.
utilize.
I don't have an answer for that right now.
Next time you're in, you'll have an answer.
I hope to.
No, I was just curiosity.
Right now, what we're trying to
I
do.
used to have my urologist in there, so it's, you know, it's very close.
Sure, I understand. You want to go, you know, you don't want to drive part of the urologist. Right now, we're identifying, some different, ideas here. We want to really focus on getting something closer to River Road at this point. Combination, retail, possible restaurant, some apartments up above it.
See, that building stands right on the river there. Such a, we utilize so many different ways.
But a good portion of that money is going towards that development. Are there any other questions? And I'm Lucas, by the way, I'm sorry. You know, sorry to introduce myself. Nice to meet you. Pleasure, thank you. Need a motion to accept the mortgage. Mr. Ross. Yeah, but I need a roll call.
Mr. McCabe?
Yes.
Mr. Wolfgang?
Yes.
Ms. Candela? Yes. Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Mr. Bridges?
Yes.
Mr. Grandpa?
Yes.
Chairman O'Malley?
Yes. Thank you. Now, that's one of information items, that information anybody wants to share, aside where the urologist is.
Where do you go now?
Oh, I tell you, they're on Route 31, Dr. Rainbow. And I can, for any of the older guys here, I can recommend.
I'll get that phone number.
That's one.
I'll be right back, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah, it's when young guys.
Here's up to Mr. Ross, information about doctors. You could check, the matrix. Especially, this is how our applications are determined and how each of us evaluate. That's it every month. We started that last year, just to make sure that you have proper information to know how the IDA is looking at the application. So if you have any questions about the application, you really should be using this, to get more information.
You don't take anything with you today, take that and please,
Yeah.
and review it, that would be.
You're welcome to take it, so we'll be with us every month. For that matter, you can take anything you want.
Sure.
Right.
If nothing else, right, yeah.
Right.
Okay, any other information? Agency council? Councilman
Just,
Gabriel?
just briefly, and it's just, I just want to make sure the board is aware. We've had conversations within staff, and in fact, had conversations with Mr. Wolfgang and Mr. Onesi for the meeting again. We're, and I think it's very important that we continue to watch closely the coronavirus situation in regards to our meetings themselves, because of, as Mr. Ross has said, the age of 60 and above, and we do have a few people in that age group here on the board. And, you know, we're right there at that very close for a full meeting of that 25 CDC recommendation of staying away from inside meetings. So we're going to watch how it progresses down the line, and we'll keep you in, you know, in the loop going forward as to the next meeting, and then the meeting after that. We won't, you know, we're not going to do anything to jeopardize, you know, anybody on the board or staff or anything else going forward. So if you have any other thoughts, please share it with Sue or myself or any of the other board members. But we're going to be watching it closely just to make sure we're not a cause.
I think Bill Ross and I were involved in the meeting yesterday, in college as trustee, that took over 1 hour explaining to us what's going on, nationally, locally, and I can add to you that I was looking at the trust, and Bill was authorized the chair of the board to Tucson, Arizona, for a meeting in April of trustees meetings going on daily at 5 o'clock for SUNY, City University, across the state, as to what the universities are going to be doing. We're in the second step of this national problem, right? Not the first step. The third step happened in Newburgh yesterday, where they locked down the city of Newburgh. So, just bringing it to our attention, we did talk about what our agency is going to do in response, and I believe you're meeting with the county to find out what the county is doing and how that's going to affect us. I only bring it up that I don't think I was as conscious, even with all the news reports, of the work conditions you really were. We're very lucky nothing has happened here. But they expect it to happen, whether we like it or not. So we just need to keep in touch with that, and knowing exactly what are the conditions and what we should be doing individually to merit that. Like I said, I became a lot more serious about it yesterday than I was before that meeting.
Great. Any other comments? Any other issues? First of all, I want to thank you all for the confidence for the vote and for your support going further. As we go on, keep me straight. The next meeting is April 8th, 2020, unless there's something that comes about that we will need to cancel that meeting. And I need a motion to adjourn.
So you always make that motion, just to let you know.
All in favor?
You always make a motion.
You have to know that, that's my birthday, so I got you.